Did you know that TYT now has a full audio network? On top of our existing lineup, this launch is gonna bring you brand new slate of podcasts, including Mouthy, Messy, Mandatory with Katie Anthony and Ronit Fanglass-Plank. Now that's a weekly show that discusses everything from family to really funny and fantastic women. To get more info on the show and the whole TYT audio network, visit tyt.com/audio. Mark Sanford was, of course, a former governor of South Carolina, very Republican, but did not follow through on family values, famously got caught with his mistress in Argentina. Then the Republican voters forgave him, said it's bygones be bygones, and they elected him to Congress in South Carolina, so they didn't mind any of that. But he spoke out mildly a couple of times against Donald Trump, and that they did mind. So he lost his primary recently. And Trump had come out against him and in favor of his opponent on the day of the election. So he was now meeting with GOP members of Congress, Donald Trump was yesterday. So he wanted to rub it in a little bit. Now that's not really that good an idea. You need these guys to pass legislation. You also need them for another reason, which I'll get to in a second. But apparently Trump told members of the GOP that were gathered there, quote, "Is Mark Sanford here? I just want to congratulate him on running a great race," he joked. Apparently Mark Sanford was in the room. He didn't seem to appreciate that, neither did a lot of his colleagues. So Jake Sherman reporting here, wow, Trump says, "Is Mark Sanford here?" As I told you. Then room goes silent. Trump then called him a nasty guy and the room booed a bit. Wow. A room full of Republican congressmen booing Donald Trump. And so just in case you were unclear on whether he was just joking, no, he called him a nasty guy, he meant it, and he was rubbing it in that he had lost his race. Well, Sanford has a lot of friends in Congress, and you're gonna hear from one of them in a second as well. So how did Trump decide that he was going to paint that interaction? Typical pathological liar Donald Trump style. Here he is in a tweet. "Had a great meeting with the House GOP last night at the Capitol. They applauded and laughed loudly when I mentioned my experience with Mark Sanford. I've never been a fan of his." They did no such thing. Every report says that they did. The room was at best silent, and many people in the room said that there was audible booing. So hey, look, there's a congressman who went on television, went on CNN. So let's ask him. He's Representative Jeff Denham. He's a Republican, and let's see if he liked Donald Trump making fun of his friend or didn't like it. Let's watch.
Congressman, I do understand the president made some kind of a attempted joke in the caucus overnight about Mark Sanford, who lost his primary. He asked everyone in the room, "Hey, where's Mark Sanford? He ran a great race, didn't he?" It didn't get many laughs, I understand. Was that appropriate for the president to do that?
No, I don't think so. Mark's a good friend of mine. I'm not sure why he did do it. I think certainly the tone of the room was that not only does the president have unwavering support behind this bill, but he expects all Republicans. I mean, he did single out quite a few people, saying that they're his good friends. He would expect them to be with him on the vote. So I think that's where the Mark Sanford issue came in.
So Congressman Denham there is talking about the immigration bill. He needs these guys' votes, so slapping them across the face is not really a great idea. But more importantly, at some point, these are the guys who could be voting on impeachment. For those of you who think that Donald Trump has some sort of strategery, as Bush was made fun of for saying, well, you might want to think about that again. He has no strategy. He has no strategy. He's just a buffoon. He walks in, he's like, I beat Mark Sanford, didn't I? Oh, you guys are all friends with him. Oh, you might vote on my impeachment later. Oh, yeah, I didn't think that through. Oops. That's okay, I'm gonna go online and lie about it. Oh, they laughed like crazy. They loved it. They loved it. They were in the room. So you could lie to your own fans and you could lie to the press, but those are the votes you need at a minimum for legislation and perhaps to save your own skin at some point. And my guess is they are not going to appreciate the salt in their wounds. Two easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.